get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. What's going on? Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Everybody. This is Marquis,
And this is Christine, the queen.
and we are here. We had to keep the season going for you.
Hey.
This season theme of family and relationships. Last episode, we talked about just learning yourself, different things from being a house husband to like the taboo topics in relationships, being obsessed or being possessive, etc., etc. And this episode, we're gonna really talk a little bit more about boundaries, and we're gonna talk a little bit about where's the line. But first and foremost, Christine, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Life is good.
Life is good, doing well.
It's great.
I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking, punk. But I think today is gonna be pretty interesting because like boundaries are like so like weird with like the rising of like dating apps and like how quickly people like are expected to move. Like it's just I'm very excited for this episode in particular. So I think let's just kick it off with the first thing that I like wanted to know was like are you willing to compromise like your general happiness for a successful relationship? And what I mean by that is that like no one's perfect. We all understand no one's perfect, right? But there's certain aspects when you hit a relationship and it's like that's a bump, and it's like, do I live with this road bump or do I like turn around now? Like, is there any point of a relationship where it's like, this is a flaw, and this flaw may build into something, or it may become a bigger problem, or maybe it's I'm overthinking it,
Or something we can work with.
I just think in those minutes, but like it's like, do you like make yourself happy and you avoid altogether, or do you like say, hey, I'm gonna call you out on this shit?
Hey, I think calling out, but in a respectful way, is very important. And then if they don't respect that, then that's when a boundary is crossed. But there comes a point where if you and this partner, if you have a problem and it's not something that they are willing to change, you have to decide right there. Do I want to stay with this person?
Right.
Would I be able to handle this? Because at that point, if you decide to stay and they're not going to change that, you're going to have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And you can't complain about it anymore.
Then you can't. You're done. Damn, that's wild. No, I mean, there's levels to this too, because like I've complained about snoring before.
Oh, how do you control that?
Exactly. That doesn't mean I can't. Like, but like that's the thing. Just because that person may not. Actually, there are some solutions to snoring.
Yeah, but the machine is really loud.
I mean, there's literal like nozzle things you can put on top. There's more than just a machine. But I hear you. Someone's a snorer for sure. I'm a snorer.
Me?
So that's okay. But no, I mean, like there's some things like like they don't wash their dishes as soon as they finish their food. Like things that maybe culturally or like growing up that you like just were tuned to not do. Like,
well, they're growing up in different households though.
I legitly had someone like complain about the direction that the toilet paper roll was like
what?
facing. And I personally did never realize. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I put that toilet paper roll on, like,
In what way?
I never realized which way I'm putting it on. I just put it on. Like,
What was their preference? Over or behind?
it was
In
just
the front or behind?
whatever they like. That toilet paper was facing the wrong way that day, and I was just like, okay, well, just flip it. I'm not invested in this toilet paper. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm more of a wipe guy myself. Feels a lot cleaner. I don't know, but
wow,
wipes do feel a lot cleaner. Just saying. I feel
well,
like
yeah.
I'm just saying, like TP. I don't know.
Yeah, please wipe.
What?
Please wipe.
Who's that for?
Everybody that's listening.
Oh my God! You can't just send out a PSA to like wipe, man. What is up with that?
Be hygienic.
Oh my God! Like, be hygienic. Like, yo, people need to start being clean now. What's going on? It's 2022. Oh man. So I do think there are certain points of a relationship where you should just go ahead and set that line. Like, yo, like, hey, like, I address this because there's also a weird thing of like when you have communication, but it can kind of come off as like you're pointing out too many flaws in the other person.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're trying to be communicative and you're trying to talk about, the things that you dislike and how you feel, but you get into an interesting situation where someone may not be calling you out on everything that bothers them.
Well, doesn't it depend on the delivery?
Sometimes, because I also believe in toxic positivity. So, like, if you are, just because you're nice, like, I don't know, if you casually say, hey, sorry to bother you, and then you say something that is essentially a critique, but you have like 12 of them, like, I think I'm going to start getting irritated, like, even if you say it in the nicest way possible.
They should have done a feedback sandwich, where you start off with a compliment, then you talk about what you have issues with, and then you end with a compliment.
Yeah, is that a feedback sandwich?
I learned about it in therapy.
You think is that do you believe that's effective?
It's not always going to be effective because some of the people that you talk to are not really good at having boundaries set. They're not good at that confrontation. So it really depends on the person, but either way, you just have to prepare for the response that you may get from that other person.
I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just like a super pessimist, but like when I hear a compliment, like I'm not receptive. So if you give me two of them things, like as soon as I hear a random compliment, I'm already suspicious. Like my ears perk up like a dog when they hear the word like walk or something. Oh, because like I feel like it's for something, and when you do it in that way, like you're saying like a feedback sandwich, like you're giving them something positive so you can ease them into it. Like I'm like, okay, well, I'd rather just get this news because now I'm gonna associate anything positive with like.
But hey, it's not too negative. It's more of, hey, I just thought you should know about this thing that I'm having an issue with. I know you don't mean it. Because a lot of the time people don't really mean to hurt anybody else.
Stop using my shampoo. That's what I've complained about before. My shampoo is like $15, okay? I like I have an issue people using my hair products. Like them drinks is expensive. Like,
well, that's understandable.
Like, oh my God.
What about if they pay for the next one?
No.
Okay, I get it.
Because I can pay for it.
Like, fine.
It's one of those things where it's like I get the gesture. Like that is nice. I'm not gonna say that's not a nice gesture, but that's not what I'm here for. Like, I want my shampoo. When it's low, I buy new ones. If we're living together and you do it, that's different because you're just replenishing what's already in the house.
What if she's into the same shampoo?
Then guess what she has?
Did she have to label it now?
Guess what she has?
The same shampoo.
She has her own then. That's crazy. She just answered. And
what if you accidentally use hers?
She's never going to use. Oh, that never happened to me. I pick up things and I feel the weight difference. Like it was like I know for a fact. Like once, like I buy multiples. Like I buy in bulk a lot. Like I'll buy like 4 deodorants at once. So
good idea.
Like I know.
So you go to Costco.
Something's like low. No, I just buy it in bulk. I've been buying in bulk since I was like 20. Like I always buy in multiples. And Costco is actually not that like big of a deal sometimes.
Oh.
Like it has to make sense. Like it has to be something like a deodorant or like a toilet paper or utensils. But like food items and stuff like that, like I'm never truly trying to go to Costco because I feel like I've thrown out more food from Costco because it's just been sitting because it's such a larger like thing.
It's for a family, that's why.
I mean based on Stouffer's lasagna, I identify as a family of 4, so because I destroy that pack of lasagna and it says serving size 4, so just to put that out there, Stouffer says I identify as a family of 4, so that is what it is. But nah, man, those portions, because normally, I mean, even chips, like we were eating chips earlier, like I'm sure the serving size on those says much more than one, and we were just
Like
killing
it's
them.
21 chips for one serving.
I'm never counting 21 chips and then like, oh damn,
They had a
that's it.
serving in
Like
his stomach.
I done got my fill. Got my fill of chips. Nah, F that. Fuka de Scheisse, man. F that sheet.
Ugh.
Oh, man. But so, I mean, but just like how you said, like, if you can't draw the line at Costco, I mean, how you going to draw the line in a relationship? You just going to get bulk and bulk and bulk.
Some people they have a difficult time doing that.
Some people stay in
'Cause they
Costco
didn't have
for
boundaries
years.
growing up, maybe.
Like,
They
didn't
let their
have
parents
boundaries?
walk over them because just to keep the peace, and so they do that as an adult. For example,
I don't know though. I guess, but then we also go into a culture and like how you're raised and stuff like that. Because like, I feel like I didn't get my voice for like speaking, at least in a like aggressive way or like a more of a critical way until I was a young adult. Like I feel like a lot of the conversations that I can now have with my mom and my aunties and some of my older cousins, I can only have because I am now a quote unquote adult. But back then, even if I share the same opinion that I do now, it was just like not like you're not even eating at the same table. So it would not be effective back then. So it wasn't even keeping the peace. It was like you're legitly asking for war if you like went to like a debate or debacle. Now, when opinions were thrown, they would ask you for it, but like people don't freely just ask for opinions of kids anymore. I mean, some people do, like young kids, but I think that's because young kids have the most interesting answers ever, and their stories go on for hours. Like, and then, also, oh yeah, and then.
Yeah, that's so true.
I mean, kids.
But they're so cute.
Yeah, kids are dope. Kids are dope. Shout out to kids. All right. Mother's Day was like the other day. And it's like, man, shout out to y'all. Because as I said on the last episode, 28 now, just old enough, you know.
Hey.
Just old enough, just young enough. It's crazy. But, you know, when it comes to boundaries and like how you said, keeping the peace, and you also brought up kids, it actually leads up to our next point that I was going to talk about, which was violence. Like in a sense of like, so I have been in a relationship where like that girl was like aggressive, not like beating on me. Like I have a story to tell, but like I mean like she would push, she would like be annoyed, and she would show like do an occasional like punch on her shoulder or something like that. Like it was like at this weird point where it was just enough for me not to. Yeah, I was about to say it's like it's not playful, but at the same time it's like not hard or aggressive enough or like painful enough to really just be like, oh, this is absurdly wrong. You know what I mean? Like, so because I'm still
no
like,
evidence,
physically,
no bruises, no.
Okay, we're not murdering anybody.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, similar to that. So it's like when I say like, what's the point of no return? I mean, like, so those are like microaggressions, for lack of better concerns. Like those are like those micro things that like you really like. It's not me wearing glasses to work or me like having this unexplained mark or whatnot. It's like something that can actually like probably happen in public and no one would really bat an eye at because it's like not a thing. But like even with those are just seeds to, like when there is actual heat and drama, like when violence escalates as drama and emotions escalate, like it's almost like not surprising, but it still is surprising and it's always shocking. So that's why I brought up like, hey, like when it comes to like violence, like where is that like point of no return? Because some people be like, you put your hands on me, period, in a non-consensual way. You put your hands on me, period, and that's it. Like I'm gonna go gonna politely get myself out of this situation, out of this environment, and then I just won't talk to you anymore. And then other people are like,
Well, it could be hard.
like, man, like, yeah, they obviously don't mean it, or they don't want to be that, that aggressive. And some people,
But it could increase in intensity, those aggressions. Wouldn't you think?
I mean, emotions increase with intensity as a relationship develops and deepens, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I mean, there's also some weird cases of like, people never becoming physically, like, getting to the physical level when it comes to aggression, and then one day they just explode, like they hit some sort of tipping point. Now, obviously, there's probably like a bigger like story to that, and some sort of build up, and you could see the signs here, and here, and et cetera, et cetera. And that person could have like not healed properly from something, but capital B, it's just like, what is that line? Because I still like, there's been rare times, like when we were talking like these psychopaths, like, your John Gacy's and whatnot, like, where like you literally cannot tell like that person is a dual personality. But I think that is scary because you get into the people who have your three selves. They say that you have three selves. You have the self that you show the world. You have the self that you show like your lover, your best friend, your family, and then you have yourself that you show no one. That's just for you. Like, and these tend to have different personalities associated with one, and that inner darkness that sometimes happens, and that like most inner self bleeds out with certain events and certain levels of comfortability. What's up?
Yes.
Or you're just clicking. I was like, oh, my bad. So I don't know, man. What would be like your? We were talking about red flags earlier, but like, what would be like your like red light? Like, okay, this is like the point of no return, regardless of the relationship. It doesn't have to be the blatantly obvious, like I push you down the stairs or something, but it had to be like, like what would that be?
Oh, there's a lot. I think it's a red flag when I watch a guy, how he interacts. Like if you're at a restaurant and he interacts with the waitress in a rude way, or talks poorly about a bunch of females in his life, or his own mom. I've heard a guy talk about his female relatives in a negative light, and for me it was just a huge red flag that he didn't respect women at all, and I didn't want to deal with it. So there's that, an early sign. If it's later, I would say just how they treat me in public and how they talk about me to other people. Heard some horrible things from a previous partner about me from others, and it just showed a lot of, because it's not stuff that they would tell me to my face. They just talked about it with other people about how horrible I was. So,
I mean, there are very few people who will talk smack about you to you as opposed to behind your back. But
well, yeah, but to assault my character, that's not right. I mean, unless I'm doing something wrong, then sure. But
I mean, unfortunately, what we always have to remember is that we are always going to be the villain of someone's story.
That's true.
Like, we're always like, we can't, like, I think we spend a lot of time trying to be, if not the hero, but like a supporter in most people's stories. But like, there are people that like straight up villainize no matter what. Like you're just not meant to be the hero on every story.
Or maybe they see themselves as a victim and they victimize themselves. What about that?
I think both are possible. I think someone can just not like you. I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't think they need a real reason. Just like if you don't like a certain type of food, it's just not your cup of tea, or it's just not your taste. Like, I think that same thing can go with personalities and people. Like, you don't have to, like, you owe no one an explanation to why you don't like them, or don't like something, or don't want to do something. So yeah, I honestly think it's kind of like when I hear the preferences, like when people say like I don't date a certain XYZ, Like I don't date, you know, a certain race, or I don't date certain religion.
Or
Like
military people.
I said XYZ, but whatever. Like it's like when people are just broad about stuff like that, it's like that's their taste, that's their preference. Like I'm not gonna feel personally connected to whatever they have going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know though, Christine, because like I feel like some people just have shitty family. I think that's real too. Like I don't know. I pray you don't run into it, but like I've run into like somebody else's family that was just like their relationship was so bad, but like that didn't speak to them with others. It was just like they legit. I know some dudes that like when their mom or in laws come in town, they like legitly have anxiety. Like they get stressed. Like it's a stressful environment, but it's mostly because, at least what I've been hearing,
the pressure.
It's because they bring them back. It's like they devolve them into their teenage years. Like it's like they don't respect them as adults or whatnot, and they talk to them the same.
Asking a lot of questions. What are you going to do in your future? What are you going to do with that degree?
I think that happens usually to either very young people or people in their early 30s, because most people have a strong sense of what's that thing? Fuck it now. They have a strong sense of fuck it. It's like, hey, I'm just doing me.
Right.
Mostly when kids are involved, that's when more questions happens. But more questions happen because there's more than one person involved.
There's that question too. What about, are you gonna have kids? Are you gonna have kids soon?
Yeah.
When are you gonna date someone?
Who doesn't want to be a grandparent after they've been a parent? I think that's just the next step. Like if you're a parent and your kid grows up, now the next story, the next chapter of your life is going to like their wedding. It's like seeing their kids and becoming grandparents. So it's like you only have a few more chapters.
Yeah.
Like so, I think that also it makes sense. But like there's some cultures that's like it's different. Like generationally speaking, like we were expected by 40 to already have everything, to have the kids, the house, the dog. Yeah, that's actually pretty normal. How old were your parents
when
they had their first child?
17, I think. Okay. They were in high school when they had my older sister.
By 40, I feel like they were a lot more established in the family.
You know what?
Picture.
They are, definitely.
So I think that still holds true. I mean, my mom had me at like 25, and my brother is only like 6 years apart from me. So like by 40, she was already like chilling. Big chilling. I was big chilling. But yeah, no, I still, I mean, I feel you though. There's some other ones where it's like, hey, this doesn't heal. I just feel like it's. I feel so bad for judging someone off of an interaction unless I understand their interaction. So like, I know a lot of people who were prior waitresses or worked in, the people or customer service business are very empathetic to waitresses and waiters, and they hate when people are rude to them and whatnot, and they like legitly feel bad and they look at that person differently. But I also know some people that don't have that same quote unquote bias. Like they haven't worked with people, and there's like, it's like, have you ever had like
bad days?
Have you been served by a bad waiter or waitress?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if you have more than that, then
what if
good.
they hate their job, going through a lot? Who knows?
Okay, you hating your job doesn't change that it's your job.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, I just wanted some biscuits. Like,
what if they got stuck in that job?
You're saying a lot of what ifs and defending the person who did wrong. See, it's a lot easier to defend them as opposed to like when they're doing bad. Like you gotta call them out.
You do.
Like, because if
someone don't tip them.
Well, I'm saying like if you're on a date and someone's rude to the waiter, I didn't hear you say like, hey, like maybe he has XYZ or he does. You went straight to this says how they interact with people. But like when I was like, what if the waiter is bad? You was like,
you have etiquette though. On
the
your
waiter
first date.
should have a lot of things going on.
Yeah, they're busy.
I was like, no, I don't like that. I don't like the. But it has to be fair across the way.
Yeah.
Like, wrong is wrong, man. Wrong is wrong.
It's multiple things that's a red flag. Like if the person disrespecting a female waitress, but then talks poorly about females in his life, then I
No,
think
I
that's a
feel you.
huge
I
red
don't.
flag.
I don't fuck with people who talk badly about their wives at work.
Oh
Like,
goodness.
one of my old like homies from like another unit, like like 4 or 5 years ago, he was like, uh, he called his wife like dumbass or something. Like,
Yeah, that's
but
rude.
like I just wasn't with it. I don't got a wife, and I'm not, I'm not out here searching for one either. But I like I did not like that. I need someone that's gonna
I don't
talk
either.
positive. But I was also like fully influential onto like you're the sum of your five friends, and like
Mm.
if I'm around people who are talking big about their wives and talking great about their families, then I'm gonna do that, like
Right.
guaranteed. Like I just didn't want to even take the chance of mixing it up or it being just weird. So I was like,
I'd want my partner to respect me, even if we're having a difficult time.
oh,
They could talk.
yeah.
I've had difficult times, and my partner still talked about me in a nice way. So why wouldn't I
No, I
have
feel you,
that?
bro. I don't know. Until a person's dead to me, like I'm only gonna speak life into them.
Oh,
It's just that simple.
that's
Like
sweet.
I guess it's. I mean, it's a little hardcore if you really think about it. Like, and until that person, like, I don't mean until they die. I mean until they're dead to me. Like, until I feel like like your world in my life is, yeah, nothing. Like I'm just only gonna speak life into them. Like, I mean, I met a lot of strong people, a lot of cool people in my life, and I'm just like,
Mm.
you guys are awesome. Keep doing your thing. You all have different traits and strengths and whatnot. Don't care particularly. I mean, some people only talk highly of me. They hate when I
Yeah.
talk negatively of myself. I'd be like, yo, I'm just bored. Like, you do so much. Don't wasting your mind. I'd be like, nah, I'm
Oh,
bored
get
as hell.
that.
I'm about to play Yu-Gi-Oh! For 5 hours. Love that game.
Sounds about right.
Love that game. Game is so hot. Um. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that can be a red flag for
Have
me.
you ever reflected on a relationship though, and then thought that you did a lot wrong in it?
Have I thought
Or
that
do you
I've done
see
a
some of the
lot
things
wrong?
that you've done wrong at all, and
Um.
think that if I did this differently, it could have made a big difference?
All right. So I want to be completely honest about this.
Oh no.
No. So like, I've definitely reflected on past relationships. Um. I definitely reflected on past relationships and looked at them and was like, fuck, like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did that, and I should have did that. But
Right.
I also remember, and you have to highlight that this is hindsight. Like, you did what you thought was best in the moment, which meant like you were only capable of so much at that moment. So you can't talk about what the present you would do because the present you has,
Learned?
foresight. Not necessarily learned. Some
Or
people don't learn these lessons,
grown a little bit,
but like
hopefully.
you're just in a different place. Like you're not in
Yeah.
the exact same situation. Because even if you enter the exact same relationship or a similar personality, it's not your first time. It's your second time. So you're choosing it this time. So it's still
Yeah.
different. So like I think there's because there's three types of sight. Like there's regular sight, like what you can see like directly in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, I see that this is messed up. Like like if you walk in and your significant other's like cheating or something, like you see it. It's right there.
Yep.
And there's hindsight, like, okay, like if I would have paid attention to this, and that, I could have prevented that. So like, like dismissive or starting to see like more, phone texts at night or phone something weird or weird energy or the sex has changed or whatnot. Like that's all like hindsight. And then there's that weird spiritual thing, which is foresight. That's a lot of people attribute that to intuitions and like gut feelings. But like the thing about foresight is that because it's like not a solid actual source, like it's not that like people will be acting like they have foresight in relationships and they're just like, dang, I could have used that foresight to just know, when they're thinking in hindsight. So I think that people should just focus on what they're doing now. Yes, you can take notes from your old like game day tapes and whatnot and your old relationships, but like unless you are the same person, which you shouldn't be, because that's criminally insane
Yeah.
to be the same
Yeah.
person. And, you know, just if anything, look at what you did right and try to continue that instead of just focusing on negatives.
I think some of my worst conversations have happened via text.
You know, it's crazy. Some of my best conversations are via text. Like I get because I am a thinker, so like sometimes when
Yeah.
I'm like on the spot, if I'm on a spot, I might blurt something out that's like the wildest thing, or like I can't get my point across, but like I know it in the back of my head, right? But on text, like first of all, I can use my whole vocabulary easily, and it gives that person. I've had someone. I was like talking to someone, and he was like, "Bro, I had to Google like 3 of the words you just said. Like, can you relax?" And I was like, "Oh, my bad, dog." Like, and I just I like calmed down the way I was talking, but like when I get into my like explanation bag, like I start just throwing out words, and I'm like fully back into being like a freaking intel nerd.
Wow.
But yeah, like yeah, some of my best conversations are through text. Now I've had some bad ones too, but that's because of tone. But I just learned to take tone
It
out
could
of
be
my
hard.
text.
Yeah, it could be hard to read that in text. So
I just take it out. I never had tone.
yeah, just send voice messages.
Voice messages or just blow them up with
Like
emojis, man.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
telling
emojis
you.
will make it better.
Freaking
If it's
emoji
happy,
that,
if you
emoji
send
that
angry,
shit
then
out. Emoji that shit out, man. Nah, man. Red flags for me. It's kind of harder though. Let's see. Um, I think.
nagging.
No, I'm trying to think for me, like for
Who
women.
you going out with?
You actually
Chelsea.
should not be like throwing guesses for me on my side. Uh, Besides, I don't mind nagging. Actually, I don't mind anything that's a little bit more protective in nature. I kind of like that stuff. I like a little bit of fire. I like a little bit of crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, I like that. I like a little bit. I like not boring. I don't know. Boring.
Sounds about right.
Boring is just like to me. Like if you do the same thing, it's not like you need to have to. I just like a little bit of like I don't know humanness to it. I feel like someone who's boring is not human.
Yeah, they're
Because
robots.
it's like, well, it's like you're hiding something. Like, I don't know what, though, but you're definitely hiding something. And it freaks me out because I'm like, what am I going to discover about you? But I would guess, like, relationships with the father or even a baby father would tell me so much about a woman, typically speaking. Um, Even though those relationships could be completely different, but like I've learned so much from those interactions, you know, like who they choose or didn't choose in some cases as their mate, and then you know just what they learned and from their interactions with their father or stepfather or whatever.
Or the baby daddy.
Yeah, or baby daddy. I've dated plenty of girls with baby daddies, and they all have different situations, like him being in the picture, him wanting to, you know, rekindle the relationship, him, you know, him not being there at all.
Some of them actually really want to work with their ex-partner, even if they both have new partners. They still want to have a civil, I guess, or
Yeah.
really healthy relationship. And I like those type of things that I've seen. I've read about it.
I like it. It's just I understand the dangers of it. Like some of my friends said, like one of my homegirls, she was all about it, but then like the guy was actually just banging his baby mama. Like they just had a physical relationship. Like so like she thought it was just like, you know, they were just being cordial, you know, trying to make it, you know, work for the kid and whatnot. And then she did that weird thing when she went through text or she read something or she did something off of a intuition, which is why I said that intuition thing is scary for people. Like,
Oh, yeah.
because if it's wrong, what do? You just say this is the exception to the rule. I don't think you think that you're wrong. You think that it's just like, no, this is just the exception. You're just the unique one. But yeah, she said that, and I was like, what?
What? Damn.
I don't know, man. I got it from dudes. Dudes saying like, yo, like when I have a baby mama, it's just like that connection is always there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I can't hate this person. It's like that's scary.
You have to work with that partner too in their life, right?
If you
The
choose
other
so,
baby
you're not
daddy.
forced to
Yeah.
at all. You're not. There's no obligation. I mean, you could be a child support father. You could, and then like, it's always interesting because like, I don't think, I think it's unfair. No, I'm sorry. I think it's unfair to say that like women when they date they're looking for like a new like baby daddy because they have one. Like their child already has a father. They're not dating to look for a father. They're dating to look for their mate who
Yeah.
has to just be good with
Yeah.
kids because their kid is not negotiable. So, but
Right.
like I think that always gets misconstrued that like, hey, because I have a kid, you're now also
You're now
responsible
supposed to take care of them and
for
pay
this
for it.
kid.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, that's not the point. That's not even the energy right now. So I just think it's unfair 'cause I think that gets looped in a lot. I feel like single dads don't get that as much. I feel like it gets more of like turned as like a turn on almost like a does your kid need a mom type thing. Very weird, but yeah, no, I'm dead serious. I think it gets used the exact opposite way. Like
I don't know. I've only dated one person with a kid.
I don't think you were speaking for the populace either. So you're good. I was just saying like I just think that all my homies that are like single fathers and whatnot, like they just have to be extra careful.
They do.
That's just it. Because I mean, who you bring your kid around is also very important and whatnot.
Yes.
And
You have to be
do,
you have to be careful sometimes because people are not safe. So you have to really vet them.
that's so crazy.
Some people don't do that. They just have their kid meet everybody.
Well, I mean, I feel like you as a parent have the ability and the right to disconcern and or have judgment of whoever you bring your kid around. So I don't think that you have to necessarily make them go through this like process if you want to just bring them around. But like if you want them to have like a relationship, something like, hey, like this is this person, like hug them, they're nice, like you see them every day. Like I feel like that's a totally different thing. But like, cause I would debate that, like like if I had like a baby mama or whatnot, I don't. But if I had a baby mama, like I would trust her judgment for the betterment of the kid. So like whoever she ends up bringing around that kid, I would trust. Like I don't think I have that right if we're co-parenting.
Yeah.
Like if we're co-parenting, like if she has like 50%, I have 50%, I don't get to use my 50 to try to overpower her 50 and say you have to vet all of these people before they even look at my child. Like, no, I don't get to do that. But I also feel like they don't get to do that to me. Now, I feel like if there's an obvious danger, like if, we're putting a child around a bunch of like drug addicts or something like that, or a bunch of alcohol and like naked girls and some that's like clearly a bad environment. Now that's, you can step in for that.
It's abuse.
And that's, I mean, there's just child service for that. So,
yeah.
So, I mean, that's one thing. But I think just saying it, I don't think you have to. But I think there is a stigma that people want more control. And I get it. Sure, it's your little half
They can
seed.
get pretty selfish with the kid.
I get it, but
which I think they should, put their kids' needs first in that.
Yeah, I mean, that's their parenting thing.
Yeah.
If you get the opportunity, you do it your way.
Definitely.
It's basically how, the only way we can chop that up, man. And I would draw that line. That's why I said for me, I'll draw a line at that relationship, because that relationship that they have with their father and or mother. I mean, mother is different interactions, but father and or baby father, that can really determine how this relationship's gonna go. That I've had the experience of knowing. I'm like, yo, like, because all those different reasons, like baby daddy's like wanting to be back in the picture, and then like now like you can start the baby dad can start speaking poison into the kid and do like a lot of weird, like nasty type of things. Like that stuff is like weird.
What about people with toxic parents that cut them out, you know, and then they've done a lot of self growth on their own?
What do you mean?
So some people have toxic parents and you can't really control that except yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe they've separated themselves enough or have set boundaries enough where they've grown a lot on their own and they're a healthier person.
I thought that was a red flag for you.
Well, I think it depends. Well, no. So if I think if someone's really worked on themselves, fine. They can be, if they're very aware of having a relative that was toxic growing up and stuff. It's not about just talking negative. It's like the situation as well. It's a lot. It's a lot more than just if the person is talking poorly about people in their life, but what about if the people in their life are actually toxic and they're telling it as what it is?
The immediate answer I gave you. I said, some family are legitly just bad. So I don't think talking negative about even females in their life, I don't think that's necessarily a go-to. This is a red flag because, some people are very jaded. Like I know people that they've only had bad interactions with one race, and so that's why they don't like that race.
Yeah, but like,
good. Yeah, but like you aren't privy to that. So like I feel like if you had that interaction, if you had those type of things, then you'd be at a weirder standpoint. Like I have friends that were like murdered by people of a different race. And so like some of them like have like harboring hatred for that race because they associate it with, needless murder. So like if we dial it down from murder and take it into like heartbreak, we take it into wrongs, we take it into maybe a fight or maybe like any negative whatever. I was like, I don't know, man. We just have our different experiences that shaped who we are together because we're just the sum of all of our experiences thus far.
We are.
So, but for me, I still would say like that relationship because if you cut off your parents and you believe that, they're toxic for XYZ and they're not healthy for you and it was a good thing to cut them off, okay, that's cool. Like, that's your life, but my other questions would be, okay, well, I personally believe that you should let people at least attempt to be a grandparent. You don't have to leave your kid with them for months or weeks or even days. You just let them see them on occasion.
Maybe with supervision, maybe. Like if someone was beating,
you're there.
If I was beat as a kid, for example, I wouldn't want my kid to be around that said abusive person. That did not happen. I'm just saying an example.
Yeah, that makes sense, but I feel like you should also like have that judgment and you can also just be there. But then we get into a place of like, does that mean that growth isn't possible for a parent either?
It is.
Because
they really have to prove it if they've
how
done
do
a
you
lot.
prove that you don't have that type of aggression type thing?
It would have to be with the interactions and watching those actions. But it really depends. Again, it's the person who's suffered a lot from that, the issues from whatever their parents did. It's up to them if they really want to keep that parent in their life. So it's like it's a two-way thing. They have to work like together.
That just answers back to my question of, or like, what is your relationship with your parents? Because like, if you're not at a point where you've at least healed and you can, okay, like I feel I'm at a point where I can discern, like, okay, like this is your grandpa or this is your grandmother, blah blah blah. Don't do this, blah blah blah. Like, if they're not at that point, and I can't help them get to that point, or they don't want to get to that point, I need to know, because my other fear is that, okay, well, you cut your parents off. I don't feel like my parents are gonna swell anymore. Like they're not gonna be any better. I don't think that, just because your parents are toxic means my parents are toxic. But I feel like if you already cut off your parents, my parents would have to be pretty impressive. Like, I know, I just feel that way. I feel like it already like sets the tone that I don't need, these people in my life. So it's like, if you have a negative, because there are some things, like I know some people who actually don't like their in-laws, but it's like,
yeah, I know too.
They don't like them for, whatever reasons, but like their interactions with the child or whatever, a call just to say hi to the kids, and the kids want to see grandma, grandpa, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know, man. It's a lot of left seat, right seat, here or there type things. You never know until you're in position, honestly. Right. That's what I always say. We always talk about what we'll do and, what we'll say and all this stuff, but we won't know until we're in that position.
Not yet. Maybe in a few years.
For
me personally, I don't have kids.
I don't have kids. I'm still chilling, but I mean, it's stepdad season, so it's always possible to change in a blink of an eye. Blink of an eye. I'm 28 now.
That's true.
We already established what 28 means. Plus, everybody I know has kids, or they're like working on it or some shit. It's interesting. Dang, that's kind of interesting though, because we were talking about like parents and relationships and whatnot. So now I'm curious, like, if you didn't like your partner's like parents, like, would you tell them? Like, if you didn't like them, or you like, not that like you got like a weird vibe, like, your freaking father-in-law was like hitting on you, or the dad was hitting on you.
God.
Something that's like clearly, hey, I should speak on this. Like, I meant, like, if you legitly just like, I don't really like this person, would you tell your partner?
Oh, I would tell my partner my issues. I don't know if I'd. Well, it could hurt my partner though.
Yeah, I was like, what if your partner's like really close to their family?
Yeah.
It's one of my biggest fears too. If like my partner's like close to their family, and I'm like,
I'd say I don't really like some of these things. It makes me not want to be around them. And I hate to say this because you're awesome, but your parents drive me insane.
I think you took what could have been, a shot, and you just you pulled out a bazooka and just shot that instead. But I feel see, that's scary, because it's like, I could see or understand if someone was like, that's like grounds to like not be together, like, because some people are super family orientated. Like, if you don't pass the vibe check with family, then that's it. Like, there's nothing else.
That's true.
Like,
it's like you're gonna be stuck with that if that person's family oriented. You'd have to accept it. Again, it goes back to, am I able to handle this?
Mm-hmm. But I mean, that also goes into like how the person chooses their relationships and whatnot. It's like, what is the priority and whatnot, or where they put you before the family, or family before you, and where do you fall? But I think that, I mean, that type of stuff should come with time. Like, I feel like the person I met like last month or something like that I shouldn't be putting her before my mom.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, right.
There's certain circumstances
Priorities.
and whatnot. I mean, there's certain circumstances, like, like if my mom was actually in the wrong or something like that, then we switch it up, because I do believe in right and wrong. But like, as far as like uncomfortability, like, hey man, like, you just met them. If they don't pass your vibe check, like, we can wait, try this again. Or we can just see them once a year. Like, there are a lot of solutions up here. You gotta be my summer home. I'm trying to get these freaking free presents on Christmas for the kid. I need it. Toys are expensive.
Yeah, they are.
No, toys are expensive, man.
No more Toys R Us.
And I was in GameStop the other day just looking. I was like, yo, this costs more than my freaking shampoo.
Oh, goodness.
It does. And it was
more than your
smaller
$15 shampoo.
Yeah, and yo, deodorant was $20. I walked
What?
in. I could show you. Next time we go to Walmart, that shit was. I said, "What is happening in the world?"
Inflation?
I was like, "What is happening?" Because I am
Oh,
not getting paid more. Like,
that's a lot.
yeah, that's just shoes.
Did you spend that $20?
I already had deodorant, but it was just like I was walking through and I saw it and I was like, "Yo, not coming here for my refill of deodorant." Freaking
$20 to smell good? Yeah, fuck that.
I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, my actual cologne costs more than that, but like, it's deodorant, my dude. Like, deodorant is supposed to cost like $4 or $5 tops, maybe $6, maybe $7 if you get that fancy bougie stuff that's aluminum free. But that's
But not $20. That's too much.
man,
Too dang high.
it's just a ridiculous price. In Walmart, we're gonna talk later for that. So I mean, so you wouldn't lie to spare like your partner's like feelings. I mean, I'm keeping it real.
If I were to lie, it's not with bad intentions. It would be for the purpose of I don't want to hurt my partner. I definitely would want to have that, but then also withholding that could also hurt my partner if they were to find out.
Do you think?
What if it grew? What if that frustration grew and I blew up? What if I blew up on my partner's parents or blew up in front of my partner about it?
Yeah, but can you flip to the other side of the coin and not stay on one side? What if you build as a relationship and then you find out that, oh, you can talk to them and you say, hey, I have something that I need to tell you in confidence, and they're like, what? And you're like, well, I don't really like your parents. And then you find out it's a safe environment and they're like, oh, it's okay. Like,
yeah, they've done this for a while.
Yeah, like, like, I feel like we know our parents.
That'd be awesome if we could
like, even if you love your parents, like, I feel like you know what might irritate another person about
I think
your
depending
parents.
on my partner and how I know that they respond to uncomfortable situations like this, then I'd probably feel more comfortable talking to them if they are good at communicating and being empathetic and understanding.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can not be good at that generally, but be good at it with your partner.
Oh, yeah, true.
No, I mean, like, there's a certain, like, me and one of my best friends, like, we just have a language. Like, it's like a lot of shit talk, but encouragement and a lot of factual this thing, but like that's just the language that we've developed, and it's like open communication.
Good.
And I thought that was like, it's so helpful. And I think that you can develop like your own language with a partner. It doesn't have to be the tried and true, hey, we're doing conflict resolution now. I don't think it has to necessarily get into that bag. But no, I mean, it just depends. Like, I personally don't think that I have to speak about every single thing that bothers me, but I will speak on things that I believe have the ability to snowball.
Yes.
Good. Because I can associate, like, I at least know myself enough to know, like, all right, this over time is going to irritate the crap out of me, or, like, I need to have this in bunches. But I also think that energy changes. Like, you said it earlier. You said, like, hey, how my person, like, talks about me, like, near their friends or family. Like, I've legitly seen people that there's a different energy around their family. And, like,
oh, yeah.
Sometimes I didn't like it. And I was like, oh, I'm not really too fond of this, or isolated.
Well,
or like,
when I watched my dad growing up around his military coworkers, he would talk completely different with them versus family.
Well, he should, because one, like, you guys are all women, and
yeah, that's true.
One of you was his wife, so I mean that conversation shouldn't talk to all the boys at work like your wife. So let's go ahead and prevent that, fellas. Second, yeah, I mean, even within the military, depending on what group I'm talking to, like, yeah, the slang is different.
Well, it's different to experience, as a child of a military person.
I am a child of a military person. My mom's in the Army.
Yes.
So I feel you. I'm just saying, like, I also grew up into it and understood why I was doing the things I was doing. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying. Um, I no, I think that I mean you see it, but I mean I've seen my mom go from like talking to people at the church to talking to her sisters on the phone.
Oh,
I mean,
completely different.
yeah, it's different. So I mean, but I think that's normal.
There's a name for that. I don't know what it's called. Is it language switch?
No, it's called code switching. But
Code switching.
I've been doing
Yeah.
that for years.
For example, some people being in the hood and
don't ever sing that again.
what?
You sung it, and I don't like it.
I didn't sing. Okay, well, I was reading a book. They talked about code switch. No, they talked about code switch in I think it was Hood Feminism, that book.
Yeah, I've seen that book.
Have you read it? I have it if you want to borrow it.
I'm not going to read Hood Feminism. I know what code switching is. I literally just told you. Code switching is how we survive in the native climate. It's because if you display too much on one side, then you lose the benefits of both sides. And no one wants that. So it's the most advantageous to be able to code switch. Also, I think it speaks to adaptability because we're always adapting to different environments and whatnot. So I think you need the ability to turn on switch. Yeah, you need to have a professional voice. You need to have when it's time to get serious, you need to have hey, you're talking to, like, how every dude has a random dad voice. Like,
what do you mean?
I don't know. I'm a dude, so I don't know how to explain this to you. It's when you're talking to children,
okay.
You just have a sterner
It.
voice. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. One, it's like 10. 2, there are no kids in this house, and it's going to continue to be like that.
The people listening want to hear.
Hey, so speaking of people listening, we're starting up a Patreon. Patreon's going to have tier systems, and for random things such as what Christine just said, it'll probably be behind the Patreon paywall. Sorry about that. Sorry, not sorry. I'm not doing requests for free. Like,
I'll do
as
it,
my
though.
mom always said, don't get paid. I mean, don't get paid for something that you do badly.
Oh.
Because people will want their money back. And don't do things for free that you do great. Which is why I'm a prostitute.
What?
That's how the saying goes.
How much you get paid?
That's none of your business, man.
Whoa.
Man, I don't know if I'll lie to I think it has to be like just conversation. I mean, you have that tact and whatnot. I feel like you should be able to talk to your partner about mostly anything at certain levels, because as we said on last episode, like, you don't want to overshare with someone if they're not at that level yet, because then you can make them uncomfortable. But
definitely,
you have to kind of pick and choose in this.
Well,
in the CERN.
If someone's unhinged, that's a red flag. But it really depends. You have to figure out that line.
Yeah, you have to pick and choose. That's something that
you have to build
that's a whole other thing
before you let it go.
Sometimes, do you believe? Do you believe that your significant other is like entitled to your social media passwords?
Oh, I mean, I don't have anything to hide, so if they want to look at it, they can.
That's not what I asked.
I don't know how to answer that.
I said, do you believe they're entitled to it?
I mean, that's my own.
You having something to hide means nothing. Do you think a significant other is entitled to another significant other?
It's my personal social media account, so thinking about it in a general sense, I guess.
Okay,
it shouldn't be an obligation. I don't know. It's just a bit.
Yeah, I was about to say,
invasive.
Just take it out
Do they trust?
Take it out of yourself. Do you think that at some point in any relationship, you get to a point where you guys have each other's passwords?
And this is I want to be trusted. It's my personal social media, so, I mean, and it's just weird. I don't think so. No, I'm going to say no.
I just say no. I mean, like, I don't have to make it personal. I just don't think that. Because if you make it personal, then it sounds defensive, and you have nothing to be defensive about. Because I don't think that it's an offense to not have that. Like, I don't think that at any point in a relationship. Like, I think you can give it. I think that's fine if you give it. I think that's fine if you have the trust. Hey, unlock my phone. Hey, my boss is calling. Can you text him back? Blah blah blah. Like, I think all that is fine and dandy, but I don't think it's one required or two entitled. I don't think that, hey, we hit our 3 year mark, so run them passwords. Like, I don't think that any of that is necessary. And I feel like when people go through each other's phones, it's always malintent. It's always like you're looking for
Right.
something. And if you're looking for something,
Like a fight.
generally you're gonna find something that's going to upset because you won't stop look like you're not gonna be like, all right, I just browsed for 10 minutes, didn't find anything. No, you're gonna sit there until you find something, unless you're like one of my exes
Well,
and
that's
you find
insecurity.
nothing because I don't do shit. But hey, I also don't give my passwords out because I believe in privacy. I feel like once you open that door, you open a lot of doors, and then I feel like that's a door that
Yeah.
strangely,
What about some boundaries?
if
that
you open
set?
that door, the weird part about that is that I don't think you're allowed to close it. Because if you go from sharing passwords to, what if you just change your passwords like every couple of years, but now you change your passwords and they're like, give me your new password. And you're like, no.
Yeah.
Now it's a problem.
Well, I mean, isn't it okay to set boundaries though later too?
You would
something
think,
that's,
but then someone's gonna like,
well,
why?
if they make a big deal out of it, it's on them. They
Yeah.
have to work with it.
If we like, I feel like they
This-
would blame that
Like,
on
this is my
multiple
boundary.
things.
I want to be respected. I know your boundary is something different, but I'd like to be respected here.
So that's why I'm like, why give it to them in the first place at all?
Right.
Because like that's why I said I feel like it's a door that you can't just close without there being some sort of issues or some sort of insecurity that brews with that. Because like no matter what, you're gonna go from like, oh wow, like we had each other's passwords, like we could do whatever. There's so much trust,
What are you hiding?
and now they're definitely cheating on me and
Why'd you
running a
change your
prostitution
password?
ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's another reason why I can't do it. Because I was like, I don't. That's like a bell I can't unring, and I like I'm not gonna continue to like live behind a fucking magnifying glass.
Nope. Don't
Like
want that.
if you think I'm cheating or something like that, I'm sorry. If it's to that point, just go ahead and break up with me because I'm not. But I'd rather not be together than fucking be
right.
than some freaking reason. And then those people tend to, if you do break up, they like blame, they like think that it was because of someone else and nothing to do with them. No negative thing that you say that they do counts because there was definitely someone else involved.
I would also feel uncomfortable with my significant other watching everything that I do or everything that I've done or the people that interact with me. And I can't even control what people say to me on the internet. So, and what if I get in trouble for that?
Well,
why am I getting in trouble for this guy calling me hot?
No, I'm going to help you guys out. Guys, I got you. I already know what you guys are saying. Females, if you agreed, hey, just sit tight. So, there is nothing wrong with quote-unquote thotty behavior. There's nothing wrong with scandalous behavior. There's nothing wrong with promiscuous behavior. There's nothing wrong with showing the cheeks. There's nothing wrong with showing a revealing dress, tight dress, feel sexy, all that stuff. That's never actually a problem. The problem is the security that you give a man. And sometimes partners fail to give security.
Right.
So it's not that someone calls you hot online. It's your response. 9 times out of 10, it's your response. Even if you don't have a response, that's a response because that means it's unattended. And who knows if that led to DMs and stuff like that. But like a straight up like thank you, or like it depends on depends on the level of gratitude. Like don't send too many smiley faces with that dang thank you. Don't seem too eager about compliments from someone else, But it's always about the response. It's usually not actually about the other person. Because if you're secure with your girl, she can do whatever. Because you want other people to want your girl. Like, that's your girl. Like, she's hot. Like, yeah, damn right. Like, look at her. Like, look at them legs. Those legs belong to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you be like, I'm with that. Like, I tap that. Like, yeah. Like, that's a boost. Like,
I've had that too. Girls admiring the guy that I'm walking around with, and I'm like, hey, he's mine.
Well, I'm just saying.
I don't mind.
It's a security. Yeah, I mean, it's just security.
Mine.
There's nothing wrong with looking or the other eyes or even the comments. It's like it's all about how you feel in that relationship. Like if you feel threatened by other people, and if your partner's safely like making you, or not safely but effectively making you feel secure. So that's why I was like, when you said if you got in trouble, I was like, he probably just didn't feel secure. And like there's certain things that you can even do like outside of just a reaction that can boost up that, I won't say insecurity, but I would say lack. Well, I guess lack of security in a relationship. But it's not, when people say insecurity, a lot of people like try to throw that on the individual. But I think that insecurities can be created within a relationship from little things that like build over time. Like, like people not knowing who you are, but you guys have been talking for a significant amount of time, and you're like, oh, your mom doesn't know I exist. Like, okay, that's a little weird. Or like people still like saying names that you've never heard of, or like you have this like weirdly like fantastic god of an ex that everybody else loves, but like you like don't feel like you're getting defended enough. Instead, you feel like you're being compared. There's a lot of little things that can build these cracks. And I think it's up to the people in the relationship to mend their own cracks and go about, the rest. That's my 2 cents. So guys, hopefully that helped you out. And then ladies, just boost it up. You know what I'm saying? Boost it up. Like talk to these dudes, man. Talk to these dudes, because
dudes need to talk to their woman too.
Well, there's a lot of things that crack it on both sides. Like a number, like your sex number, like matters more for one side. I'm convinced that it does. Like
what?
Your body count matters more
for
one sex than another. What do you mean for who?
Men?
What's happening right now?
I'm asking you. Wait,
I was about to say, what's happening right now? You sound offended, and it's like really confusing. I'm like, your body count has never, what do you mean, never not mattered? It's always mattered. A body count has always mattered. How important it is, honestly, I don't know. Like, I would feel really weird, especially in Hawaii, where I know so many people. So, like, I'm like Eskimo brothers with, like, so many people. But, like, that's because I grew up here. Like, I've been here since, like, freaking...
That's funny.
Like the 3rd grade. So like if people stay here their whole life, they're gonna have different interactions by the time they're freaking 28.
One of my old partners was trying to set me up with one of his friends, and he showed me a picture. I was like, I've matched with this guy on Tinder. We've talked before.
Yeah, it happens. I was just saying, that's why I said that the number is definitely shocking sometimes.
Some people don't really keep track of it.
I feel like that's problematic as well.
Dang.
Don't keep track. So the number, so how you just, I stopped counting.
You know how long it could take
I just stopped counting. You know what it is. Like, hey, bro, like I don't even count no more, bro. Like, at this point, I just got a little scratch off card. Just scratch them off. It's a little bingo.
I'm a person, not a number.
A bingo card.
I am more than that.
Bingo. Like I don't know, man. Well, the number counts. I was going to say the number counts for Army dudes. I hear it all the time. People talk about Army dudes all the time, and one of the first negatives that they say is Army dudes sleep around, which means the number counts.
So you guys are known as the sluts.
You're asking me a question about something that I don't know. I don't know where Nona. I'm just saying, like, hey, like, the number matters on both sides, but I feel like it matters more to one side. But it definitely, you can't say that the number does not matter. Can you stop with that microphone? She's like rubbing up against.
I'm getting too close to.
And it makes me uncomfortable.
Our last podcast episode, I was going back and forth, and I'm trying to stay as close to the microphone as possible now. Okay.
I just don't need you to cheek the stock the microphone, because
I want them to hear me when I talk. So it's not going back and forth, quiet and not,
man,
trying to be better.
She's trying to change the subject, guys. She knows this damn number thing is important. It's important on both sides.
I don't think I've
Or
ever
else
asked
we
a
wouldn't
guy
have stigma.
how many people he's been with.
No one's ever asked that, like, straight up. Like, it's not something that you ask straight up. You can kind of discern that. And then also, like, if you ever hook up with someone and then they know someone else in your friend group, it's a weird feeling. And why is it a weird feeling? Because numbers matter. Like, relations matter. The web matters. Who knows who, how they're connected to what. It's a lot harder over here in an island, man.
Yeah, I know.
Like that's why I was like, yo, that number matters. Because, like, the higher the number, the more chance you have of being connected to a web. And then let's say you have 2 serious relationships where you, like, met family and cousins and friends and stuff like that. You know how big that web is now? Huge.
Yeah.
Huge web. Huge web, man. Damn.
Those connections.
And then the number plays a weirder role too sometimes, because, like, it can kind of affect the mood. Like, I felt like if someone was, like, a little too, like, eager, but I felt like I was like, I don't know where this is coming from. If I felt like they had like if they were a homie hopper or something like that, yeah, homie hopper, someone that hops from homie to homie. That's not even. Sometimes it's not on purpose.
But
so
the
I will
homies
get
know.
That.
I guess they don't really care. You mean
No,
homie to homie?
I just said, like, sometimes they don't know because the places are so small. Like, what do you mean? Like, if you put your dating app into a 20-mile radius, like,
yeah,
your 20-mile radius isn't significantly different from someone else's 20-mile radius if there's only 40 miles total.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, I just think that the energy is very important to point out. But I don't know, sometimes it's like, that's not my energy that type of time. But I'm a sapio, so, like, if I don't get into someone's head, like, they're not getting any head, basically. Like, it's just that simple for me. It's like, I need some aspirations and dreams. Sometimes you can't find that out on the first date.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking someone's ear off, and that's not a good first date thing to do.
As a first date.
Yeah, nah. Should go do something. I think you can have a good conversation and you can kick it and whatnot. But, like, I just think that your first date should be, like, actually seeing that person in different, like, environments or doing something. And I don't know. I think there's better ways to go about it than basically just texting in front of each other. Sometimes I feel like that's all people do. They just take what they would have done in text at home and they just do it in person. Emojis and everything. That's just.
Oh, that's me. Why? I have a lot of facial expressions.
Christine is hilarious with the facial expressions. Oh, shit, man. Oh, man. Oh, wait. We talked about friend circles. We talked about webs.
Only we had a video camera recording, they could see all my facial expressions.
I feel like they've seen it. There's plenty of videos in Patreon. As I said earlier, for our Patreon listeners, we are having a tier system that we're releasing. Well, we will release full video episodes. Again, I say, for the Patreon, we will have full video episodes. And then we'll put some clips on YouTube. But that's then.
The funny stuff.
Yeah, some of the funny stuff. You know, you won't get all the juice, or else there'll be no point in going to Patreon. But, you know, we'll give you a little snippet, you know what I'm saying? A little snippet, a little inside joke, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, we were talking about, like, the circle and the importance of numbers and how they can be connected to other people. And then it reminded me of the last thing I kind of want to hit on was just, like, what do you think of, like the best friend or, like, the opposite sex friend that's, like, relatively close to your partner? Like, is there, like, a certain policy on that, like, that you either stay away from or, like, that you establish at certain points? Because I know everyone kind of does the same little tiptoe when they first start talking to someone, because, like, it's not really your business to start, like, setting up all these boundaries and ultimatum type things. But if you don't do it in an expeditious manner, then it's weirder to do it, like, 5 months later.
I would prefer to be besties with my partner's best friend of the opposite gender. That's my gender.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You said just like,
I've had,
I just want to hang out with my best friend.
Some things that really broke my heart is that my best friend from elementary started dating this girl in high school. And they're married now and they have kids, but she wasn't happy with she wasn't happy with a lot of things, and I found out through it was really immature, but social media. Like, I was never told to my face that there was a problem, and then the friendship was just done. So and that stuff hurts. Like, I'm really close with your husband. I didn't think that it was gonna be a problem. Like, if we communicated on this, it would have been nice, and boundaries could be set. I lost a friend that day because she was uncomfortable with my friendship with her husband and how close we are and the things that we share with each other.
Let's add a few devil's advocates to that.
Oh no.
Well, no, because to be fair, I do think that when people are married or people have a relationship, you as the best friend, because I'm a best friend to my best friend's married, so like I do think there is a certain level of respect that I do need to give the relationship, and that means there are certain hours that I can't call or text, right. Certain times where I can't communicate or I shouldn't be talking your ear off about what's going on with me because it's taking you away from your primary. Mm-hmm. And then I also think there's just certain communication aspects. Like, I should try to get close. Like, as you said, I don't know about bestie. I'm not trying to be besties with one of my besties, like, significant other. Like, bro, like, first of all, like, if I become besties with you and you guys don't work, like, I'm still hanging out with you. Like, so I can't.
Close friends or
no, I'm not doing that because if they don't work out, like, now I'm in a weird middle phase and I can't hang out with both of them simultaneously. And then, like, I could also bear resentment from my actual best friend, the first one, because they broken all ties with this person. And here I am, just like, this is one of my greatest friends now. Yes or no? I would be cordial, as they say. But I don't know if I'm going for bestie. But have you, at least in that situation, did you try to become as friendly with her as you were with him, or did you just have a friendship with him and you just knew of his girl?
I tried to have a. Oh wait, oh no, I've been friends with him for a long time.
Yeah, but I mean, like when he had
her. Oh yeah, I was friends with her, and we hung out individually sometimes, where it was just me and her.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
And it was really sad to let that friendship go.
I feel like he was told on her part something.
And I sent her, I asked her, I was like, I didn't mean to, well, I told her I didn't mean to hurt her, and there was no intention there, and I appreciate knowing now that she had a problem, but I wish that she said it to me instead of told her friends, and then they bullied me on social media about it.
She might have told her man. I'm just saying, like,
he should have said something too.
Well, I mean, I was like, I feel like you didn't cast anything on the friend. I was like, I don't know many relationships where it's like, if my girl is upset about my interactions with another female, that she's just not gonna tell me. Like, no. Like, first of all, you're gonna get those weird questions like, so how long have you guys been friends? Or you're gonna get the, so nothing's ever happened between you two. You're going to get all those weird, awkward questions, and then you're going to kind of notice the energy. So, like, back when we were talking about, like, boosting up your partner's insecurities, like, I just want to say from now, my point of view, as, 28-year-old Marquis, like, like, he probably just failed at doing that properly, and then you suffer from something that he wasn't capable of doing at the moment. Because do you have to cut everybody off? No. Are there some people you probably should cut off? I actually think so. I think there's some unhealthy relationships for a relationship. And I think that you have to adjust those accordingly. But
right.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, guy best friends are weird. So I don't know how I deal with those. Like, I want to be cool with them, but like I said earlier, it's like, you're not really my friend. Like, you're my friend, but you know me through the girl I'm fucking. So it's like
wow, way to put it.
I mean, like
that.
That's how you know me. Like, you know me through, like, and I have no idea like what you guys' relationship was or is, or like, because the other thing about the opposite sex that is interesting, that any friend at all, like if something is going on, they're supposed to take your side. So like if you guys are going through, not like I would say, my girl's best friend is supposed to take her side if we go into an argument, unless she is blatantly wrong. In that
Yeah,
case,
I was gonna say.
well, unless she should, but like that's your best friend. So your best friend, like your best friend would still like break it down to you. Like I've never heard anyone
Yeah.
like come out and complain and be like completely black and white about their complaint. Usually they're like, this person is so selfish, and they tell a totally biased story, and they already have their best friends like vote for it.
Yeah.
So I mean, for you to say like, there's very few people that can be like, hey, am I wrong for this? And then they tell their best friend, and it's like a completely
My
like
friend's
just
like that.
whatever. I just said they're few. I didn't say they didn't exist.
I like that there. When I have a friend though that will give the other perspective or say, hey, well, on this person's side, this is what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
and then calling me out on my stuff.
Hey, me and my boys, we just talk it up. But yeah, I don't know how I would deal with that, because like you're opposition. You're not really my ally. Like,
Me?
no, dummy.
Oh.
Like, I'm talking about the best friend. We're literally just talking about best friends in relationships, like the opposite sex friend, and like, are there boundaries that you can set, and like, is it based on your own personal comfortability, or is it something that you can like legitly say like, oh no, I feel like any relationship, because I feel like some people will take what they find uncomfortable and throw away any relationship like rule to it to try to enhance it, and I always disagreed with that. Because I mean, there's nothing wrong with your opinion, but if you say like 9 times out of 10, or everybody would think this, and I'm like, all right, I don't. That's a whole nother train of thought. So I don't know. They're so iffy.
Well, I have a friend that's actually, she was best friends with a guy, but then they got married, but then they realized that they were better off as best friends, and now he's married to a new girl, but she's really close with that new girl and their kid. It's interesting. So I think it depends on the people, their relationships, and the comfort level of the new partners.
No, I mean, that's on surface. Like, who knows what's going on behind closed doors, or pillow talking or whatnot. Like, insecurity is insecurity, man. It builds in some weird ways. Who knows? Like, if he ever has anything that builds an insecurity that makes her think that he is either unfaithful or his attention's elsewhere, it's immediately gonna go to the closest person outside of her. Like that would be the immediate suspect. So it's a double-edged blade. I don't know, man. I hate navigating that space, man. Best friends are weird. Childhood friends are weird. Like, in relationships, it's just weird because like
people change.
like
Your friends change.
people
Your best friends
change.
change.
People have different things going on, and like, yeah.
Those changes can change your friendship. It can
And
make
some
us.
people really like. See, we talked about family. Some people act different as hell around their besties.
Right.
They become like.
Well, it's a comfort level.
I know, but like you deliberately see like a comfort level that person does not have with you.
Yeah, you're right.
And
About
it's like,
that.
and then it's a person of the opposite sex, and it's not like a family. They can get the quote unquote, they're like a sibling to me, all that bullshit, but like, they're not actually related by blood or legally related, So fuck it, man, fuck that shit too. I don't know. That's weird. I was just curious if there's some boundaries you set for that, or there's a certain level of uncomfortability for you when it comes to that person. It seems like you're gonna try to maybe become best friends with them. I feel like that'd be bad if it backfired on you.
I think it depends on it really depends on the situation, what's going on.
There's some things that are
Well, I'd like
gonna
to be friends with them at least. And then if not,
would you prefer that they already experimented on their sexual tension, or if they never acted on their sexual tension?
Urges?
Tension. No, I'm talking
What?
about the best friend.
If they're attracted to my partner in that way?
Yeah. What do you mean? You literally just told me about how some people were best friends and they got married.
Oh, you're
So
right.
you can't say that tension, it does not like exist within that dynamic too. So I was asking you, is it better, or would you even prefer if they like acted on it and it failed and they're just like, okay, well, we're strictly friends now? Or
Yeah.
would you like if they never acted on it and they're still saying like we could never see each other in that way?
I don't mind.
That it was
I don't
A
think
or
I
B
have
type of
issues with it.
thing.
If they explored with each other and didn't like it, then fine.
I think I would pick A because that was my question. Which one would you pick? I think I would pick A because even though we can say like, yo, wow, like what if they try again? I'm like, no, I mean, somehow you wound up with me and you're getting stuck on me because after me, there's no going back. You don't regress. You just continue to get better. So you upgrade to a
Never go
model after
back.
me.
Once you go.
Yeah. Yeah. She made a racist joke, everybody. I just want
What?
you guys to know that she made a racist joke.
Just now?
Yeah. All right. And because she did, we
I
have
didn't
to
even say
end
anything.
at- she alluded to being black, and once you go there, you don't come back, and she knows it. But hey, guys, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for showing up, man. I appreciate you guys all for coming out for another episode.
I'm so sorry, guys.
You know, she's apologizing to black guys, which she hasn't learned is not the way to apologize. So next episode, we're gonna sit there and we're gonna talk about kind of like we were talking about the Lions this week, but next episode we're gonna really talk about like what gives you that, as I call it, that Mario superstar music. Like what gives you that pump, what makes you feel like all invincible and like happy about yourself and that you can conquer anything. So that's all we got for today. Stay tuned. Once again, I am MarquisSoLive.
I'm Christine.
And we'll see you guys later.
See ya.
Okay, bye.
Bye.